Okay, and we are live.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. This is the Town of Somers Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. The date is April 16th, 2024. Denise, would you please take the roll?
Mr. Hardin,
Here.
Mr. Lansky,
Here.
Mr. Newman,
Here.
Mr. Padavani,
Here.
Chairman Canestra.
Here.
Thank you.
I request everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. First item on the agenda this evening is that of Nicholas Lupinacci. Is someone here to represent the applicant? Sir, if you could just please come up to the microphone, just give us your name and address.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nicholas Lupinacci. I live at 163 Route 118, Tomahawk Street.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lupinacci. And you are requesting the board to provide you a special exception use permit for an existing accessory apartment above an existing garage. This is a one-family dwelling in an R40 residential district. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. Board will probably have just a couple of questions here. Is the unit currently occupied?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Is it with a family member or friend or
Family member.
family member? Oh, okay. The building inspector, Tom Tuma, have you been out there to inspect the
I have.
unit and it's currently in compliance?
It is.
As indicated on your summary sheet here? Yeah.
Yes.
Has the town received any complaints regarding disturbances, noise, anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, okay. Just give us a minute, Mr. Bonacci. I just want to review again the specifics on. So from here, the unit is 750 square feet, it looks like.
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And does it have two bedrooms?
2 bedrooms.
Okay, okay. And you're in an R40 district, but it looks like your lot size is 4 acres.
Yes, sir. 4+ acres.
Okay, okay. This accessory apartment had been approved before, so this is a renewal, every 7 years you have to come before.
Since Christ was a baby, it's been there.
Okay. All right. All right. Other questions by board members, the application?
Seems to be in order.
I was gonna say it's pretty. Yeah, everything here. Okay. All right. Mr. Lupinacci, did you have anything you wanted to say before I open it up to the public for comment?
Not at all.
Okay. All right. Just bear with us for a minute. All right. So Paul, we want to open this up to the public online Zoom. Some call in if you'd like to speak in regard to this application. Is there anybody here in the audience who wishes to speak in regard to this application? Yep. Okay. The Zoom number is listed on the screen. If you'd like to call in and make a comment, please use one of the numbers, put in the Zoom meeting ID code, and we'll bring you on. We'll leave it open for a minute or so, see if anybody would like to. Okay. Last chance from board members. It seems everything is in accordance with the code and we don't have any.
No calls.
Yep, no calls. Okay, last chance for the public. Anybody wishes to speak in regard to this application? Okay. Any further comments from board members? All right, we're going to close down then the Zoom access. Doesn't seem like anybody wants to come on. Mr. Lupinacci, did you have any further comments before we vote on the application?
No, sir.
Okay. I think it's time to entertain a motion for the type of action we have here.
Type 2.
Second.
I'm sorry, who was that?
Me.
It was Bill.
Bill and Paul.
Bill and Paul.
Bill and Paul, thank you. Mr. Hardin?
Yeah.
Mr. Lansky?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Mr. Padavani?
Aye.
Chairman Canestra?
Aye.
Thank you.
Can we have a motion if we're going to grant the 7-year special exception use permit?
I move that we grant this 7-year special use permit to Nick Lupinacci.
I'll second.
Mr. Hardin,
Aye.
Mr. Lansky,
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Mr. Padavani,
Aye.
Chairman Canestra.
Aye.
Thank
Congrat-
you.
Congratulations, sir. Your application's granted. It's good for 7 years. After that time, you have to come back before us.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Have a good evening.
Everybody.
I'll be in
happy,
in
healthy, and
touch.
safe.
I'll
Thank
be
you.
in touch, Mr. Lupinacci.
Denise, you have a good one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Don't hold
Have a,
on. God bless. Have a good day.
have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, so second item on the agenda this evening is that of Matthew and Michelle Hasselman. This was a postponement from the last meeting. This is an application for 2 variances for an accessory garage to an existing one-family dwelling in an R40 residential district at 47 Pine Bridge Road, Yorktown Heights. Someone here to represent the applicant?
Hi.
Hi. Could you please, sir, give us your name and address?
My name's Matt Houseman, 47 Pines Bridge Road.
Okay. And could you briefly describe your application for us?
I'm trying to build a garage over an existing stretch of driveway. And that garage is a little too close to the road and a little bit too close to the neighbor. So that's what this application is for. I have a couple of supporting sketches of how it look like once we get through the architect and whatnot. So that's my hope.
So this is a one, because the only thing we have is this, right? I don't have, yeah, the only sketch we have is this, which is very scant.
Yes.
Do you have anything further we can look at?
Yeah.
I was looking at this application and I was kind of like, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
for sure.
know what's going on with it.
I just bring these up.
Sure, sure.
These are my own sketches, just based on sort of what we're hoping to do. Just a 2-car garage over where the car is currently parked.
While they're looking at the picture, I just a couple of questions. So
Yeah.
doors to that garage are going to face towards the front yard then?
Yeah, they're gonna face, yeah, it'll be like it'll face the sort of existing direction the cars park.
Okay.
So you want to
And-
build a 1-story, 2-car garage.
Correct.
It's over existing driveway, so there's like parking space there? Is that like, and you're just building it over that?
Right.
No
Trees,
basement?
what's that?
No basement?
And the existing garage will remain as it is?
Yes.
So it looks like on this drawing,
Mhm.
it seems like the new garage kind of blocks half the driveway and most of the existing garage.
A little bit. There's I've measured, there's enough room to get a car in and through there. I have a project car that I work on the weekends that lives in that garage, and then the cars we take live in the pavement. So it will still be useful as a garage.
What are the variance requests?
And 10 feet closer to the road, and 3 feet closer to the neighbor.
So, front yard setback is
Front yard setback is 30 feet.
30
Side yard
feet
is-
and you're requesting 20?
Well, it's 40 and I'm requesting.
40 and requesting 30.
Correct.
And the side yard required is 15, actual will be 12, so you're requesting 3.
Correct.
Okay. Obviously, type of plans are not sufficient to get a building permit and all that.
Obviously, yes.
This is just a conceptual thing for us if we're going to give you the variance for
Correct.
space, for the size and.
Yeah, obviously, yes.
Okay. And so in your existing home,
Mhm.
do you have a 1-car garage?
So this is just the existing space.
Okay. So it's an existing,
So an existing 1-car garage,
and you want to build 2 more garage, 2
2 more
spaces
spaces next to it.
right next to it. Okay.
Yeah.
And the driveway will remain exactly as it is, or we have to?
It'll get widened a little bit, out into the yard, a few, I don't know, like a dozen feet at the back.
Okay.
And it's a sort of, we're just gonna end it.
Okay.
And is there a breezeway or something in between the 2 garages?
We're entertaining the idea. whether or not we can actually do it. My wife would like it to not have to go into the rain, but if it doesn't, if it to make a break, then we can kill it. There's no concrete plans yet.
And you're not concerned about the access around this new garage to get to the existing garage?
No, I've spray painted the driveway and measured and walked around in there.
Tom, did you have any comment regarding this application, access to the garage?
No.
No, okay.
And you're gonna be, yeah, just from the angles, it would seem difficult to get into that garage.
It'll be a little tricky. I have actually fit 2 cars into that garage, so I can't fit them.
No, I mean,
But-
I mean the new one. Right, because to make a wide enough turn to then, you gotta make a,
Yeah, does the sketch that you have this extended piece of driveway? This is the one that I had in.
This one here. That's right, I don't have that one.
oh, I see. So,
There you
so,
go.
okay,
Thank
so the
you.
driveway's going, you're gonna go all the way over here.
Thank you.
Okay, that explains it better. And Tom, and in terms of lot coverage and all that, he's fine with the new driveway and new garage?
Yeah, I have that chart if you'd like it.
We have,
And you're just going back to the existing coping on that bump out? Just
No, well beyond,
well beyond?
yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry.
So it looks like you have the coping on the existing carve out for the cars with the granite pavers on the side here. How
Mhm.
much further you're going from the,
I'm a foot or two past where the pavement stops against the side yard and actually inside where the pavement is from the front.
okay, so
So-
you're not extending
No,
past.
Look at this one. Do
Okay,
you have this
I
one?
don't have that.
It's not really that parking area. It's
Oh, I see.
well beyond, it's not going over the existing parking area. It's going over about half of that parking area and more to the front.
And
no, it's inside the parking area. It'll be towards the house from the front edge.
Oh,
This seems to
Take a look at that.
display it a little differently, which is why I'm confused.
Yeah. See how that is?
This was a copy. This is the actual space. This is
So
So this was from the town from whenever it was made.
oh,
The actual.
Oh, I
Look
see
at
that.
one.
this here?
yeah,
Okay,
That's where the actual.
Got
pavement is.
okay, gotcha.
Stay looking at the Google Maps, it's. He's not much closer to the road than many of the neighboring houses. They all seem to have somewhat similar setbacks. Just looking at the areas.
Right, because, and generally that's, I mean, we did decline a garage in the front.
looks like this was all.
Remember not long ago,
Yeah.
just based on the character of the street. So that would certainly be something I'd take into consideration
yeah, but he's back far enough to
relative to the other,
avoid that.
relative to the other.
And I think that garage was face on versus.
Right.
He's pulling in to the left.
Yeah.
So you'll be seeing the side of a garage versus the front, which.
Right,
For whatever value that has.
Right, this plan actually also includes renovating the front for curb appeal, so part of this is redo the brick or redo the stonework, redo the roof, redo some siding, new roof, so it's the sort of
okay.
revitalization of the whole front of the house along with this, if that makes a difference.
But you're not changing the footprint of the house?
No, just new landscaping, new plants, new walkway and roof and things like that.
I mean, moving the garage closer to the adjacent property line would give you more access space, but then we have.
It would, but then
Then
it'd
we
be a
have a
bigger-
greater variance.
Yes.
Right.
This felt like the reasonable, just tuck in a little bit without really trying to take much.
Have you spoken to your neighbors about this at all?
Haven't.
No, okay. They would have been notified so they can comment or speak?
I don't expect they would have an issue, but you know, probably wouldn't.
I haven't heard from anybody.
Okay, thank you, Denise. So it looks consistent when you guys look online?
Yeah, it looks fairly consistent. I would also say it's a double yellow. People are wondering pretty quick. It's not,
A scenic neighborhood kind of thing.
well,
Listen, if you can steer in and out of that garage, you certainly make your way onto the parkway.
Okay, and then what is, so in the other setback is for the side yard?
Yeah.
What's it like in between, is it?
There's
Put it in,
there's some forsythia bushes and a tree and some leaves.
any trees coming down for this?
Not that I expect. That's part of this thing is there's lots of trees over where this garage needs to be and is wrecking the cars. And so I'd rather not cut down a tree in the yard.
we could talk about having some additional shrubbery or something to, on that side of the garage, so that you don't have the same visual, the garage being so close to the road.
Yeah, that's actually in the plan along that front edge of it's obviously there's not a concrete deck plan, but our idea is to put some nice shrubbery and make it, it's not just a wall of vinyl siding or whatever against the street. It'll be,
Right,
bushes, nice things.
right. We can always make a decision contingent upon
Yeah.
screening at some level, yeah.
Appropriate evergreen. Yeah.
I think I'd like to take this out to the public and talk some more. All right, Paul, I'd like to take this out to the public. Put up the Zoom numbers again, if anybody to speak in regard to this application. Is there anybody here in the audience who wishes to speak in regard to this application? No. Okay, so once again, the Zoom numbers are on screen. Anybody who wishes to comment in regard to the application, please call in and we'll put you into the meeting. Just use the Zoom meeting ID number.
There's no one, Vic.
Okay, thank you, Denise. Okay. Last chance for anybody to speak in regard to the application before we vote? No? Any further comments from board members? We're talking about screening. Are we talking about screening between the garage and the road or screening also between the garage and the adjacent property line? How close is the adjacent home to?
It's
This
very
garage.
wooded in between the two.
Oh, it is very wooded.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think that you can see through.
You can see through. It's not, in wintertime you can see through. In
Yeah.
springtime you can kind of see through. It's not, it's not a clear shot, but you could see. And I have no problem doing screening on that side of the garage to make
Yeah.
it nicer for them. That's
It's just a view from, that's the view from the neighbor
Oh, wow.
looking on the side, so it's
So,
Yeah, that's
it's fairly heavily wooded there.
yeah. Okay.
it's mostly deciduous, but I don't think it's an issue. My concern would be screening from the road. If that's a concern, then I would condition the approval on screening as approved by the planning board to lessen the impact.
Right, we could give our comments to the planning board that there be some kind of evergreen screening there that, it's only a one-story building, so it doesn't have to be enormously high, but just,
Right.
and they would grow.
make it look a little nicer.
Yeah, just to soften it a little bit, so to speak. I think
Yeah.
that might be a reasonable approach here. We don't seem to have any negative comments from the neighbors or anybody else, so.
The planning board or the planning department?
Planning board.
It wouldn't be an application for the planning board.
Oh. That's interesting.
He should have, did you file an environmental determination already?
No,
Planning and engineering?
no, it's the meeting with you and then this meeting.
I know he just put something into the approval.
That would be cleaner.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, we could do that. We could decide on height, number, or whatever, and, and maybe leave it to the applicant as far as what kind of evergreen they wanted, but at least it'd be an evergreen. It would screen all year round.
Right,
Okay.
that's no problem.
Okay, any further comments of the applicant or any further discussion we have to have? Nope. Okay. Sir, anything else that you'd like to say in regard to the application? Before we vote?
No, I guess I'll just say that the genesis of this idea was having to demouse my car over Christmas break because it sits outside as I work from home. So maybe that could weigh in a little bit.
Okay. This garage, there's gonna be electricity to it. For
Yeah,
light-
just for lighting and for the garage door.
Right. There's no plumbing to the building? Okay. Nothing gonna be in the attic? Is it gonna be like a
It'll just be rafters or,
rafter ceiling? Okay. There's no bathroom in it, nothing like that? No. Okay, it's just a straight garage. Okay. Okay, I think we're gonna go to a vote. Can we have a motion as to the type of action?
Type 2.
Second?
Mr. Hardin,
Yes.
Mr. Lansky,
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Mr. Padavani,
Aye.
Chairman Canestra.
Aye.
Thank you.
Can we have a motion as to whether we're going to grant the variances and what conditions we might put upon it? We're gonna leave it to you, Bart.
Bart, you want to make that because you added the,
I didn't have the two variants written down and they weren't on the agenda. So I would move
Here, they're on,
that.
highlighted on there.
Sorry, I didn't have that. So I would make a motion, to grant a 10-foot, front yard, variance and a 3-foot side yard variance on the condition that the front yard, be obscured, that the building be obscured by evergreen, screening in the front yard. With a minimum of 4 6-foot trees.
I think that would be
yeah,
reasonable.
that seems fair.
Okay.
No?
Do we have that sound?
second.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. That was Bill seconding, Denise?
Mr. Hardin,
Aye.
Mr. Lansky.
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Mr. Padavani,
Aye.
Chairman Canestra.
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations, sir. Your application has been granted.
Much.
And you have to follow the,
Yeah,
either,
do the
building
process.
permit and all the processes involved, but the approval for the variances has been granted.
Absolutely. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you. Take care. We're going to go to the next item on the agenda this evening. This is the application of Angelo Ferrara. This is an application for a variance for an addition to an existing one-family dwelling in an R40 residential district at 4 Vine Lane Road, Granite Springs. Someone here to represent the applicant?
Yes, I'm Green with La Rocca Architects here in town.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And I think we have some drawings from what I heard from before the meeting began that might come up on screen.
Yeah, Paul's got some images. I also have a board with a little bit of color on it. I don't know what you want me to.
Sure, you could just put it
Direct.
right up there. Hopefully he can get the images on screen so people in the audience can see it. And sir, could you briefly describe the application, what is requested here?
Yeah, Joanne and Angelo would like to put a 12-foot, 6-inch wide addition on their existing house at 4 Vine Lane in Granite Springs. There is a 30-foot required setback as a side yard, and the existing residence is 9 feet from that line. So in order to build this addition, they would require a 5-foot, 10-inch variance to the small chimney box, which does not have a foundation, and let me take a look here. Can't see the board, so. Four-foot, 3-inch variance required at the foundation at the closest part of the addition. It is skewed to the property line, so it actually veers away from the property line from that 4-foot area.
My first thought also is the addition is going closer to the property line. Could the addition have been put on the other side of the house? Not feasible.
It would be not unusable, frankly. That's the garage side of the house and the very informal family room and eating area. The intent that the Ferraras have with doing this addition is to expand their formal dining and their formal living areas so that they can host events with friends and family in those areas. Right now, the house may have been designed so that the formal living room is not used as such. And formal dining room may not be used, but they do use them quite frequently. That living room is not becoming a sewing room for anybody. It's heavily used. So the 12-foot 6-inch addition would turn perpendicular to, Paul, could you go to the plan, which is probably up 3 slides? It's 3 of 6. Up,
6 of 6. Yeah, 3 of 6 is an interior floor design, it looks like.
right. That's the one. So the addition to the left, you can see the formal dining room is at the top of the plan, immediately adjacent to the addition. The dining room is immediately adjacent at the top of the plan, and the living room is immediately adjacent to the addition at the bottom of the plan. They would both be extended into the addition to double their size and be turned 90 degrees in orientation. That would allow them to have, formal dining for events, for family and for friends. And the family and the living room would then be doubled also so that they could accommodate the same. When you have a large party with friends and family, it's natural to divide informal and formal, kids, let's say, and, finger food and the formal area. So this really is the only logical location for the addition on this residence in terms of program.
It does seem like the existing areas are a little small for that living room area.
Uh,
I see what you're doing here.
Yeah.
I understand the purpose.
Yeah.
And this is just a 1-story addition, is that correct?
Yes, it is. You can maybe see a little bit clearer on this board here. We've outlined this line around the existing building and colored in tan the proposed addition. It would have the same material, same fenestration, same siding, same roofing.
So all look consistent and, yep.
Absolutely. At 1 story. Now, it could be built as of right, but it could only be 9 feet in width, which is not practical, usable, desirable. So in terms of the view from a neighboring property, say, to their east, the profile of this addition doesn't change whether it's compliant or whether this variance is offered because they are perpendicular to them. Whether it's 9 feet or 12 feet 6 inches, it's going to have the same view and would not have a change, frankly, to the quality of their view, light, air, noise. And we feel that it is in character with the neighborhood of the existing buildings there. In fact, it kind of allows the building to step down to the side yard rather than be, 2 stories with a 8 and 12 roof.
And there is no external entrance or anything?
No, sir. And they're doing it with a crawl space rather than full basement. Yes.
And the roof,
Mhm.
is the ceiling going to have like a gable roof or is it going?
It's going to be a flat. Their intent is that the existing spaces, formal as they are, carry through with a flat ceiling so that they can continue the trim. There's a trimmed opening, for example, between the dining room and the living room. They would replicate that in the addition with a flat ceiling. It would have an open attic with access through the master bedroom into possibly a walk-in closet if there's headroom once the technical
Or storage or
drawing.
whatever, or closet or whatever. Okay, great.
Yes. But access only to the roof. Now, there also exist 2 window wells immediately adjacent to where we're proposing this in the cellar. So they would offer, access to the crawl space and also for HVAC and the like underneath and for inspection.
And is there currently like a wraparound porch that it goes around side?
The porch currently stops right at the end of the existing building. We would not extend it at all. So the front elevation, if we can go to probably, what is that one?
Looks like the front elevation.
4 of 6.
Right.
Right, so it's only on the left, the porch, the entry is pretty much the center of the elevation, a little bit to the left. The porch covers the entry and covers the front porch just to the side of the house, to the east side of the house. We would align the addition with the front and back walls and carry the siding through and not extend the porch covering at all. And it would probably have a single window in the front and rear to match what's there now.
Okay, so but this porch currently extends and wraps around a little or no?
Oh, you know what? Okay.
It must look like there's an
We-
existing porch there, yeah.
We're using the contract documents from the subdivision, and that was an alternate
Oh.
on the contract documents, which was not constructed.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
Sir, just give us your name.
Yes. Good evening. Angelo Farrar, resident 4 Vine Lane, Granite Springs. So what you're looking at might look confusing. So the original builder was Enzo Letizia, who was a resident and builder in this town 25, 28 years ago. And at that time, I think Efren Citarella was the building inspector. And there was plans that were drafted up that there was going to be a deck that wrapped around. But when I bought the house from Enzo, he said he scrapped that on the site and he just made a porch go across the front. So the picture that you're seeing, these are original architect plans that I got from the town, but I imagine 28 years ago on the site on spec, when he decided not to wrap around porch, no one made him file, an amendment because he wasn't adding anything, he was taking away. So if that solves the confusion of why you saw a wraparound. So there is no wraparound porch and there's not going to be a wraparound porch. It's going to be just the porch that goes across from the front door to the left and the corner property right now. And then, willing this addition gets put on, then it doesn't even go further. It stops where it stops now.
I'm curious, the
Yeah.
existing house has a basement.
It does.
Why didn't you want to continue the full basement into there? You got rock or something underneath there?
No, we just didn't think it was necessary. The expense, and the basement is already finished when I bought the house and it's a nice sized basement finish. So I didn't think there was a need to, do that kind of heavy excavation and doing a dig out. A crawl space was fine. We're just trying to gain the square footage on the first floor for the living and dining room, like Keith had said, because although, it's a very nice floor plan and a nice house, obviously that's why we bought it. Our family has grown in size, and the events that we host, unfortunately, we're kind of the main hosters in the family for a reason that my wife will speak about pretty soon. That being said, just this Easter just passed, right? So if we had 33, 34 people at our house, which we did, my dining room right now, the way it's set up, is just not able. So people are eating in the family room, people eating at the kitchen. So you think about family event or a family holiday, you'd like to get everyone in one room, but that's not what's happening here. Everyone's chopped up and kind of just doing their thing all around. So as a host, I'm making my rounds around the house to see how everyone's doing. Unfortunately, we're not all on one table. So that's, and there's a reason and a driver for that. And I'll let my wife.
Hi,
Joanne.
so I'm Joanne Ferrara,
Hi.
4 Vine Lane. Andrew and I have 4 children. They range in ages from 19 to 24. One of our children is on the spectrum. He has severe social anxiety, and he has something called focal segmental glomerular sclerosis, which is a rare kidney disease. So we pretty much host all holidays, birthdays, graduations, gatherings, because that's what's conducive for our son and our family. The social anxiety piece, I'd love to go to somebody else's house. You want to invite us for a holiday? I'd love to come, but unfortunately, that's not good for one of our children. So as a whole, it's not good for us. The kidney disease, he's on a very low sodium diet, under 1,500 milligrams a day. So I make everything from scratch. So I cook all day. We go to someone else's home, even if you put the social anxiety piece to the side, we still have the problem of he can't eat whatever everybody else is having. You know, sodium is in an egg before you crack it. It's in bread, it's in cheese. A 4-ounce chicken cutlet has anywhere between 55 to 400 milligrams before you do anything to it. So 1,500 milligrams goes like that. If you still put the social anxiety to the side and we went to someone's home, I would make something for our son to eat, and then the whole, you know, he's on the spectrum, so it just snowballs into a depression kind of thing, and all eyes are on him. So it's just easier for us and just makes everyone is happy. We host. It's a lot on us, but we do it. It's our son's safe place. And we have people all over the place. We have, you know, Angela and I both have our parents. We each have siblings that have children. We have cousins, aunts and uncles. We have a few friends that either they don't have family or their family lives, you know, far away. So there's a lot of us. And, you know, I'm exhausted. We're exhausted, right? We've got people, you know, in the kitchen, in some, you know, the 8 people are in the dining room. Who's in the living room? We're moving furniture out of the way. Who's in the family room? There's just people everywhere. And it would just be nice if we could have a holiday or an occasion where, even if everyone's not in one room, we're all kind of in the same area. It would just be nice. And, you know, this is our life. We have to, you know, make provisions to make it conducive for, you know, for our family. And that's why, you know, we have the living room and dining room, but it's just not, there's no space. And I don't want to sound like, oh, you know, there are people that don't have, you know, what we have and, you know, as far as size of home, but we're fortunate enough and we do host a lot. And it would be nice if we could all be together. And this way, you know, our son, he comes and goes. Maybe he's got to go upstairs or he goes downstairs and he joins us. When we're at someone else's home, you know, he's in somebody's bathroom, like vomiting or, you know, just not good. So this is the reason for the variance. Anybody has any questions for me, for Angelo, for Keith? You know,
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Do you need to, do you have any questions like with schools or for us or?
Any further questions of the board or comments before we go out to the public for?
I think the obvious question is, talk to your neighbor on that side.
So. In answer to that, yes, I think I went over there maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago and I had a conversation with Jerome and Christina, who are here tonight, and I explained basically what we said we wanted to do. And I gave him the layout of that. We were looking for a variance because we're in an R40 and you need 30 and we were going to be breaching that. So I explained to the best of my ability. I think they're here tonight, so
They can comment in regard to it.
Comment if they
Yeah,
want.
right.
Besides that, I would say everyone, your architect and everyone presented a very strong application.
Okay. Okay, so let's take this out to the public now. This is obviously a public meeting, so anybody here who wishes to speak in regard to the application for or against, please, can you please just come up, give us your name and address? And we'd like to hear your comments. Also, we're putting the numbers once again online for Zoom. If anybody would like to speak in regard to the application, please call in and we'll bring you on. So if you could just give us your name and address, please.
Hi, Christine Rascona. I'm at the address 8 Vine Lane.
Jerome Rascona, 8 Vine Lane.
Okay, thank you.
Vic, just before anybody starts, there's nobody online.
Okay, we'll leave it open just for another minute, Denise, and then we'll, just in case.
Okay, great.
Okay, yep.
So we strongly feel that this variance should not be approved. What they are proposing will alter the essential character of our locality. The plans that they have showed does not actually represent what's in their backyard and exactly what's existing right now. So I'm not sure, you know, where the updated plans are of what actually exists on their property.
When you say what exists on their property, you mean the house, you don't think the house is the right dimensions, or are there other buildings on the property, or what are you referring to?
So
Little slide.
So in one of the slides in the backyard,
Shows it.
there's already more added footage with the roof on it on the left side of the backyard. And then there's also a deck that was also put in. So those plans are not quite the most accurate in the back of the house. So we had went into town and looked at the plans today.
If you look at the view from the south.
Okay,
It'll
so
show,
back of the house, I think it's diagram 6 of 6.
it's,
Okay, so
right there. Yep.
That's the rear of the house as we
So,
have it, excluding that deck on the side there, I guess.
okay, so the deck.
It's not up, that is not updated. So there has been expansion on that. And there's been roofing on that. That doesn't exist. So this is not the most updated plan.
Okay. Paul, could you go to diagram 1 of 6, which shows the site plan? Yeah, that's it right there. Okay, so that's the property and that's where the house is located. Looks like a, circular driveway in front. Now, let me just see here. The back of the house, okay. Covered deck, okay. Frame deck and steps. Yeah. Is this site plan representative of what's there?
Covered deck, yeah.
We have covered deck.
Okay, yeah, so you have to speak with the microphone. Well, actually, let them, that would be, and then you'll have a right to come on.
If you were to go back to the other side from the south, from that view.
Side 6.
You want to go 6 of 6?
So I believe that was 6 of 6.
So Paul, if you could, go to diagram 6 of 6, sorry. It's okay.
There you
Great.
go.
Okay, so where it says proposed addition,
Mhm.
directly to the left of that, maybe a little bit further in, there is another deck there
Okay.
that is not on this plans. And there's also a covering over the wood deck all the way to the left, with actual roofing. That's not shown on there as well.
Yeah, there
So-
could have been
It's
some.
shown on slide 1 of 6, though.
On the survey.
Yeah, it's on the survey.
Yeah,
And-
it's on
and-
there.
And those discrepancies don't really impact the requested variance so much.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if they build something that doesn't have a C of O, then they'll have to make an application for that to the building department but yeah, I think the main thrust of what we're looking at here is, the variance from the side property. That's the key issue there. They're required to have 30 feet. Their proposal, right now, they're currently, I guess, 38. Their proposal will put them at 24 feet.
24 foot too.
Yeah, 24 points. So they'd be a little under 6 feet encroaching on the.
Which,
side.
Freddie, if you were to look in our neighborhood, there's about 5 homes all in our beautiful street. And the area where this is being proposed is by far and away the closest of any of the houses on that street. So encroaching on that by another 6 feet is gonna make that area even smaller. And it's gonna affect the property value, in that our home is not gonna be as eye appealing with the land around it and barely 30 feet on the side of the house.
How close is your home to this property line?
Our home to their house is probably about 60,
wait,
How much was it?
our property line's about 30 feet.
30 feet from the house to the property.
So you're right at.
Right at,
back.
yes.
You're right at that back area.
Yes.
Some type of screening, which would make you more comfortable with this? Is there trees or some type of fencing which would make you feel like, you would still have your privacy, or is that not?
Well, we have 4 children too, and our grandmother that lives with us. So, we're also getting impacted. Our family's personally getting impacted. When we moved back into Somers, right, to raise our family, just like I was raised here, right? I was born and raised up in here in this area. So to me, when I bought my house on 2 acres, I never dreamed that somebody would be encroaching on me when they also have over 2 acres and they have usable property, more than an acre on the other side, that they could build on. Might cost more money, but it is an option. They could also go back and take away from some of that decking and build the property back out that way. So there are other options. This is not the only option that is being put on the table. It might be the cheapest option, And when Angelo spoke to us, he talked about possibly later adding a second floor, which means our two bedrooms would be looking into each other. Well, it would be a closet, your walk-in closet, you said, and, our bedroom. So again, that's, encroaching on us. And when I looked at the variance codes, considering this is truly a hardship, right? This resulting for us would be a negative impact. For them, it would be a positive. So I don't see where there's anything positive for us to gain from this.
Also too, it just look, like I had said, just looking around the neighborhood, it's not going to be as eye appealing for us. Our bedroom window, even if it is gonna be a closet, is gonna be significantly closer to their bedroom or closet window that they could, not to say, but sometimes we came up here to Somers to have more space, to have a additional room, and we have a 2-acre house. The Enzo who designed the property designed it that way, and it looks good. So to change all that only for adding space, and I understand if they feel it's a necessity and it's a hardship. But if you look on the standards and guides from right on the website, it says there's 3 ways to apply for a variance. One of them is a hardship, which I don't know if entertaining qualifies a hardship. It's not as if I don't see it as that way. And then it says the proposed use will definitely alter the essential character of the locality, meaning it's going to affect the way the neighborhood looks.
So I don't know if you've ever driven back there, but that was the appeal of why we purchased our home. When we originally purchased that home, we didn't need that big of a house. We actually were like, how are we ever going to fill that house? We bought that house because of the privacy and the acreage and how pretty it was, how scenic it is. We have the farm behind us. We have the horse farm on the other side. So that whole picture scene is going to be gone. When people come to our house, they tell us how beautiful it is and how wonderful, how we have all this space. We have the front porch that we can sit on, and so this would impact us in a very negative way. So I hope you take that into consideration when you're really thinking about, what's a hardship, right? They said, what is it, 4,600 square feet of a house already? And they have other options of building. It doesn't have to. And they could still do a room expansion on that side. It doesn't have to impact. They could do it up to code, correct? Right? They don't have to take that extra space. There's no need. The other issue I'd like to say is I don't have any issues right now with water. And, with that new roof, how is that going to impact me being so close to my property? And I know some people in our neighborhood has, and I know Fort Vinane has had problems where he's had to redo his basement multiple times, and he's had to put in a new drainage system recently, and he's dug up the front property of ours to rope into your town drain. So, again, like, how is that going to impact me then? If he just had to do all this work for his own property for whatever things he did to update his house, now this might also impact my property. Anything else? Not.
No, I think that's it.
All right.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for
Thank you.
listening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So yes, if you have some follow-up comments.
So I want to go back to the house that was built in 1998, again by Enzo Letizia.
Mhm.
And I think the building inspector at the time was Efron Citarella. The plans that everyone sees, which are on the town, records, the survey shows the covered porch and the deck. I bought the house in 2016 as is. I've added no structures to this house. The covered porch on the survey, whatever exhibit that is, that was there when I bought the house in 2016. It was there when the house was constructed by Enzo, approved by Efron Citarella at that time in 1998. The deck that in the architectural blueprints shows that it's wrapping around the front porch. Obviously, they scrapped that on the site and they didn't do that. But the deck that's in the back of my house, I did not construct. It was there when I purchased the home.
So you've,
But
you've made no
I've made no structural
exterior improvement.
nothing. And they've lived at the house, or they've been at the property a few years before me. And I think they're well aware of that. I bought the house as is, and they looked at that deck and that covered porch that's on the survey well before I even moved into the neighborhood.
I assume the house as is then has a C of O on it. You wouldn't be able-
100%. I wouldn't be able to get a
I don't-
mortgage on
Or
it.
mortgage, exactly.
Yeah,
So-
and I don't think we're too concerned with those two items.
Right. I just wanted
I
to,
don't think that's really.
I just wanted to address that there's been no structural additions to this home
Right.
since I purchased it in March of 2016. Everything on this house is from 1998 when Enzo built the home.
Right.
And it's indicated as such on that survey with the covered porch to the left of the rear house, and on the right-hand side, it says porch, which is just a deck.
If the
Yeah.
board wanted to impose a requirement for screening, would you be acceptable to that?
Absolutely would be acceptable. I spoke to
If they did, I don't know.
I accepted, we spoke about putting up, the trees that I actually have going around my pool. They're fat Alberts, they're blue spruces. They're about 6, 7 foot. We spoke about screening, as a possible, recommendation and an option that, after the addition is constructed, we would start from basically the front left corner of the house. I don't know if you want to put up something. I don't know what exhibit it is. I really don't.
Yeah, we're okay. We got it.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, put up 5, 6 foot, 7 foot blue spruces, fat Albert with a berm, maybe elevate the berm 2 or 3 feet with mulch and dirt, build it up first, right? Nice and nice, build it up, and then plot in a row or staggered, whatever, on my property, right? Because I'll pay for it and I'll put them on my property. 8, 9, 10 blue spruces from the corner all the way down past the house and the structure, basically to my pool equipment.
right. I mean, as of right, you could go another 8.5, almost 8.5 feet towards the property line with no issue. So you're asking for approximately an extra 6 feet is what
Right.
it's
I mean,
really coming down to.
Well, hold on. Yeah.
the chimney is taking up to 5 feet. Remember, that's 5 feet. So that comes out and that recesses and come back in.
So it's only 2.5 feet then.
2.5 feet plus a chimney.
Oh, plus the chimney,
In one section.
the chimney, but, the chimney.
Right. The chimney comes out, and then it recesses back in.
It's a zero clearance, gas fired.
Right. It's just to bump it out. Right.
Right.
Enclosure.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Right. And
One thing
yeah,
I would certainly balk at, I think here, if this was 2 stories, then I could certainly see where, the neighbors would certainly see that second story. And that would be really hard to screen.
Yeah.
1 story does definitely mitigate that in my mind.
it's 100% going to be 1 story. The elevation that he's proposed, that we are proposing,
That's,
see the roof line?
yeah, Paul, could you put up on the screen, diagram 5 of 6?
Is it 5?
Yeah, and just.
5 of 6 shows what the neighbor would see from their property, okay? And let me ask you, that gable there, that peaked roof,
Mhm.
are you gonna have a window on that side?
We will not have any windows.
There's not gonna be any window.
Again,
There'll
the
be
joint,
windows on the first floor.
Right, on the first floor, I understand, but on the second floor where there might be a walk-in closet or storage, there's not gonna be any window there.
Oh.
Because I think the concern would be, as the neighbor has indicated, privacy,
right.
Okay.
Not only would there not be windows, but just to clarify a point here, using the existing on-file construction documents is really just a visual aid. We're not trying to say that that's exact. They're not as-built, no as-bills are filed with the town. We're just using them as a background to describe to you what we're doing on the east side of the house. We're not trying to say that it's less, there's less existing. The survey speaks for itself. There's a covered porch over there. It just doesn't happen to be on the plans we used as a background, frankly.
It doesn't matter.
Right. And also, again, about the site, if you went 9 feet, would not be a usable addition and the Ferraris would not. To build to the west is to build on the septic field. And as you know, throughout all these developments, the septic field is enormous. It starts right at the other side of their driveway and goes, covers at least 2/3 of the west side, which looks like a field. Frankly, we couldn't build that way. even if it were programmatically practical in the house, we wouldn't do it. Tank is there, the fields are there.
Where's your wellhead?
Well,
Way back.
the well's in the, if you, there's a, here, it's in the back left.
Actually shows on
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Survey, this is the front
Yeah.
of the house, obviously, circular driveway. It's
Yeah.
right here in the right hand corner.
Okay.
On the left hand corner.
Yeah,
is
it's
the
about
front of the
40
street.
40 feet from that,
Okay, so the wellhead,
It's nowhere near here. It's all the way in the back.
got to keep that from septic and everything.
Right, septic is on the right-hand side. So Keith's point, on the west side of the house is the family room. When you look out the family room window, there's steps that go down to a walkout basement. So you can't build on top of the foundation of a walkout basement. Then after that, grass starts, right, off of the driveway, and that's where our septic tanks are. So you have your septic tank and the water, both 50 apiece. Then the plot of land that I have after, that's my entire leach fields.
Right. So just so I'm absolutely clear, if you weren't building the fireplace, how much are you infringing on the setback area?
3 feet?
3 feet, 10 inches.
4 foot 3 inch
that's right.
to the foundation of the corner of the building. 4 feet 3 to the foundation closest to the property line. It then veers away from the property line, and at the south east corner, we're asking for, what is it, 2 foot?
Right, because the
Yeah.
property is
Yeah.
angled, right? It doesn't just go straight, it's not a straight lot that goes back. It goes this way and then it goes that way to the
Right.
furthest point where the well is.
Okay. Yeah,
That's what that-
two of 6 shows it very nice.
That's what that perforated line is that
Right.
shows the
Yeah,
off kilter.
We ran that through CAD to be sure that we could give you accurate numbers. And we, of course, we put a couple of extra inches in there to make sure that the siding and
Right, the
any
sheathing,
framing
siding,
errors
insulation.
didn't screw us up.
Right.
So we will be somewhat less than that. And we're showing the box for the fireplace dotted because it has no foundation. It's cantilevered.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
In terms of the water, Angelo has completely revamped his stormwater system. His gutters and leaders are piped now to the street, to the storm system, and so will the gutters, leaders, and foundation drains of the addition to the same system, which is oversized. I believe they've got 6-inch, 8-inch pipes there.
And that's piped into the stormwater.
Yes, sir.
drain on the street.
Yeah.
Right. So the way the house was designed, back in the day, a lot of builders, and I think they still do now because it's a cost thing, they use what's called this, you guys all know about this, that 4-inch flex pipe. So, you know, if you're using that for like landscaping purposes and stuff like that, it's fine. But when you're putting that underground and the ground settles and the earth moves and root balls get into it, they get clogged. So obviously I was lucky enough, sarcastic, that after 28 years of the house being here, we noticed that there was something wrong. Water kept backing up to the least point, the furthest, the lowest point of the house, which is the walkout basement, right? I have a catch basin right there. So the water was rising and kind of coming into the door. That being said, someone came with a camera. They did a reverse view from the street up and then did a view from the catch basin in the basement all the way up. What we found was right off of the front right corner of my porch, going out to the street, those 4-inch flex pipes where all the trees are, anywhere you saw a tree, you went and walked across 8 feet, there was a root ball. So it was like an artery being 98% blocked. So basically the water wasn't leaving my property. It was getting to that. Maybe a little bit was getting around. 5 feet later, there's another tree. Then the water was getting blocked by that root ball. So all I did was dig up those 4-inch flex, kind of like not really durable pipes. And I put 6-inch rigid pipe. And I just, you know, put a fern coat, and that was it. That was last July, 2023.
I assume it has solved the problem.
It solved the problem. Now, I even mentioned this to my neighbors when I went over there probably a month ago, that I think that, you know, whatever water issues I did have, I fixed. And then we have this shared piece of property where my setback is, and then their setback starts and goes to their home. You know, we get a lot of rain lately. Obviously, you know, global warming, there's rain 9-10 months out of the year. So we do get some buildup in water, both properties combined. I thought and said that I think I'm going to even make it better, because when I do this addition, I'm going to actually put, you know, those, what are they called? Caltex in the ground. So, you know, if you looked at the addition on my property, like to the left of the chimney, I'm going to have my builder put Caltex underground, so all the water will not sit. So their water will probably run off into my property as well, which is great, because I'll take their water and my water, put it into the Caltex 6, 7, 8 feet into like the gravel pit, and then that will disperse and dissipate into the earth, as opposed to just sitting on top of both of our properties. So I'm hoping that that will actually eliminate any kind of water issue for both them and me. In addition, we are going to put up those blue spruces, which I advised them. They asked, would I put up some screening? And I obliged and said, I don't see it to be a problem.
And what are you thinking about as far as number, height, and
Well, I think I had said before that, you know, on my property, after this structure is put on, and then I have a setback from the end of my structure, I have a distance between my new structure and my setback and my property line. I'll come up with like, you know, on my property, maybe like a 4 foot wide, you know, berm, build it up with just fresh screen topsoil, maybe 2.5, 3 feet. So it's perched higher. And then it will run on an angle in line with my property all the way down to the back. And then we'll put like 6, 7 foot blue spruces, Fat Alberts, which grow like, you know, 8 to 12 inches a year. So I'll be perching them up 2.5, 3 feet already. Then you put 7 feet of growth that I'm buying. So you'll have like 11 feet from the jump street. So we'll have more privacy now then than we do now, because right now we have no privacy. I can look out my living room window and see right into their family room. They can look out their family room or whatever that room is labeled in their home, and they can look right into mine if the shades or the verticals weren't up. So we have zero privacy right now. After the structure is put on, we'll have total privacy.
is it fair to say if you put up all these blue spruces, the only windows I see on your side of the house are on the first floor?
That's correct.
So there's nothing on the second floor that would be facing the neighbors.
You won't see it anymore.
Right.
You won't even see what you're seeing right now,
They might see a little bit of the top of your roof.
but they see the top of the roof now.
Exactly. They wouldn't see the new structure roof because it's 1 story,
It's one story.
and they wouldn't see, because even your second story doesn't have windows facing them.
No, my second story has a bathroom window that was built with the house, and it has a bedroom.
So there are bedrooms facing their house?
Well, my bedroom, the master bedroom.
Yeah, because I'm just looking at can we go to 5 of 6?
Yeah, go to.
So I see 5 of 6.
So go to the front view of the house when you're looking from the street. Just keep flipping, and then I can tell you when to stop. So stop. So, thank you. So the front door, you go to the left of the front door. There's a porch. There's those 2 picture frame windows right there. That's the current
That's the
living room.
front of your house.
That's the front, right?
Side of your house, there's no windows facing.
On the second floor there is, and on the first floor. Where the peak is on the first floor in the left-hand corner, that's a master bedroom. When you wrap around to the side of the house, there's 1 window in the master, and then another 5 or 6 feet towards the back of the house. That's the master bathroom, and there's the same size window there now, which is existing.
Those windows are going to be obscured by the roof line of the new addition.
One of them will.
One of them actually is probably gonna have to come out, and then, right, the bathroom windows probably have to be closed up. So I'm gonna lose my bathroom window.
Right, so if you go to 5 of 6, which I'm looking at here,
Right.
it looks like it obscures both of the windows, but you're saying one of them will.
Well, you're right. You know what? It probably is going to obscure both of them. In that picture, in that rendering, yes, the answer would be my bedroom window is going to be gone, and the actual window in the back left of the house, which is the master bath, that's going to go too, because obviously they're sitting inside of the new roof line. What?
The master bath is not being extended.
No. But the window itself is that back left window, the way the roof line is coming down on the single
It
story.
looks like the new
It's-
line is going to take.
It's going to take, right. So they're going to have to be boarded up, and they're not going to exist.
Take out both those.
Yeah, both. It's
Right, they're both gonna be gone. So they're there now, but they're probably gonna go based on that drawing, based on the roof line.
So that would actually improve,
Even if one is gone, it improves.
right, it would improve the privacy between you and your neighbor.
Right.
Because if there's no windows on the second floor. All right, okay. We're trying to get a feel for this,
Yeah.
because,
These are.
I mean, there's a lot of lines there.
Yeah, the existing
One is
drawings
no line.
are close to accurate. We have not field verified exactly what windows are where.
Very
Yeah,
well.
we've looked at different roof pitches. We looked at lowering it, but it just it wouldn't look right in that
Yeah,
neighborhood.
you
You gotta
can't
have
have it
it,
too low.
you gotta have 8 and 12s or it just looks ridiculous.
right,
Or aesthetically, it doesn't.
and follow the existing roof lines, for,
Yes, sir.
for architectural aesthetics, yeah.
It sits below it.
Right, absolutely. It's only 1 story. It's not 2.
Correct.
Right, I understand that. Okay.
So
Further comments, questions from the board?
to be clear, we're looking for 4 foot 10. That's
Four-
the maximum.
At the foundation.
That's
4
the
foot 10 is the maximum we're looking at?
Yeah.
4'3".
4 foot 3.
Sorry, 5'10". 5'10".
Well, that counts the box.
Chimney.
Including the box.
That's the chimney. So it has to be
And you know, if we approve this variance, we'd be approving the extra variance only for the side of the house and the chimney where it is, as drawn, you know, not the, you can't, if we approve the, if we approve, if we approve, you know, where the chimney is, that doesn't mean you can now decide, we're gonna draw the house down the chimney line now.
100%.
Okay, just so we're, you know, because we're approving a set plan and a set proposal. Okay.
If you need to include that in the language, obviously,
Bump out for the chimney, but then it recesses, returns, comes back, and then you have a line of the house. It's not the whole thing is the, right, exactly.
Okay, just so I want to be, you know, crystal clear on this and, right, we can also condition approval on screening, as discussed. Yeah, because, you know, when you go into setback areas, I think the main concern the board has is, character of the neighborhood, privacy of the neighbors, you know, we'd like everybody to, you know, be fairly happy with what's finally decided, and can't always do that, but we do our
An
best.
existing propane tank, it's not.
Yeah, it's underground.
Okay.
It won't even have to be moved.
yeah. And just to say it again, if we build this addition compliant with the zoning ordinance, elevation 5 of 6 would look exactly the same. It would just be 9 feet deep
It would just be,
instead of a space you can actually use.
right, right.
And had you considered, so you have 9 feet.
Yeah.
As of right. You've also got a little room behind the house. Could you get the same square footage within your 9 feet by going out back a little bit?
I think you could see by the layout of the plan, that would add in the neighborhood of the dining room and not the living room, which might be contrary.
Well, yeah, I can figure, but you'd get the square foot.
And it would have more of an impact on the neighbor front to back to get the same square footage.
Well, I mean, I'll leave that to the neighbor to decide.
Okay.
I'm just talking about what you would have as of right.
Yeah, in order to get the same square footage that make it a usable addition for the Ferraras, you'd have to go back another 10 feet or so.
Yeah.
Which would extend, you know, the width of the exposure to the neighbor.
It looks like there's a bump out at the back of the house on the floor plan.
There
That
is,
is
that's
chimney?
it's a bay window.
Oh, it's a bay window.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wasn't sure what that was.
We may do one again at the back of the addition, depending on what Joanne does with the dining room.
Mhm.
But that wouldn't be, have any effect on the decision here. It's outside of the
Yeah.
line.
That would be not within the, okay.
And that would likely be cantilevered as well, because the one that you're looking at is also cantilevered, doesn't have a
Want a
foundation.
consistent look, obviously.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
You know, I think, I mean, you know, what strikes me, and when I look at a satellite image of Vine Lane, it's 8 houses on Vine Lane, they're all appear to be similar 2-acre lots. I agree that, you know, you buy in a neighborhood like this because the houses are spread out. And these 2 houses before this proposed addition are probably the 2 that are closest together in that neighborhood, and this will put them even closer together. So I do think, so that I have some issues with that. I just think that this neighborhood was designed this way to put space between houses. So I have a little bit of a problem making them even closer. And I think there are other ways within the required setback to get that square footage.
Yeah. Other comments from the board? Oh, yeah, sir, anybody else wants to speak? We'll open it up again. We're just kind of, actually, sir, why don't you come up now? Just give us your name and address and you can speak. Yep. We want to get input from everybody and.
My name is Peter Chummer. I reside at 23 Granite Springs Road. I've been there for over 40 years. All 5 of my children, including Christine, grew up there, went from kindergarten through high school in the town, great town. The request, as I understand, is based on hardship being that the west side of the house has septic fields. I don't believe that there is no solution for the septic fields to be moved if needed to the expansion area. Most of them have expansion areas from my experience. Not even sure that the septic fields are a problem because there's so much other land to the back and to the front that could create the space they need. They have over an acre of open property in that direction. The home is on 2+ acres and 4,600 square foot house. It's not a small house. And that doesn't include the basement, if I understand it correctly. There's no mention of other possibilities for expansion, only to the east where the two homes are currently only approximately 70 feet apart. Most of the homes on that lane are 200 feet apart plus, if you look at the way that the plan was developed originally. If Roscona asked for the same variance, their homes would only be 48 feet apart. Is that what we're going for? So Roscona is going to expand, they're going to expand, and we're going to have two houses 48 feet apart in that community? I don't think so. Where other homes are over 200 feet apart. The variance requested would have a negative impact on the Roscona property and on the character of the community. That community has a character. It was intended to be a certain way when it was originally developed. They're trying to change that. Not sure why the neighbor would want to move forward knowing the negative impact, other than that they do not care about anything but their personal wants for more space for entertaining. I don't think that's basically going back to a hardship. I don't see it as a hardship. We have a large family gatherings at Christina's house all the time. There are 20, 30, 40 people coming there, and we manage. For that once or twice a year to all of a sudden go forward with something like this does not make sense to me, to get a variance for something like that. Please note, Angelo has informed us that he plans to move what is on the east side of the house closer to the border. In other words, we're talking about this would include shrubs, mechanics, and that are currently in place. He has also informed us that he plans to put a catch basin or dry well near the Roscona border. Not sure what effect that will have on the Roscona property, but there are already issues with the Farrah discharging swimming pool water onto the backyard of the Roscona property. Angelo recently added a drain pipe underground across the front yard of Roscona property to hook into the town drain on the road. No one has a problem with that. I'm assuming it's okay. He has had issues with his basement flooding, which is understandable. This may be due to property changes he has made. The pool water discharge issue has not been addressed, only what is important to them. The pool water discharge issue did not exist with the prior homeowner. Roscona's never had a problem with the prior owner with the pool water, but for some reason, it looks like there's a pipe that goes in here, just has it laid out, shoots it into their backyard. Who cares? It's not a good thing. An environmental impact study should be made to determine if there will be a negative result due to the additional rainwater from the expansion and future discharge of water to the Roscona front yard from the roof, catch basin, dry well, whatever it is he's putting in. Roscona home does not currently have basement flooding issues, does not want in the future because of the Farrah's expansion and plan changes to their property. The Roscona property in the front yard does not have a flooding issue, and their septic fields are located there. So for what they're planning on putting in this water we're going to send it here, we're going to send it there, might help them, but it may destroy the Roscona property. And I know years ago I had talked to the building department of that when my neighbors put in a pool and stuff, and all of a sudden, all this water that was never there before was coming on my property, and they had to make some changes to alleviate some of the problem. But even today, I still get water all the way back in my property from their swimming pool and the other things that they have there. And I was told, well, water goes downhill. Thank you very much. I know that. But we ask that the board consider the Roscona side of the situation and have the Farrah family go back and see what their other alternatives are. It should not just be based on the least costly or what they perceive as their best interest at the cost of hurting their neighbor. The Roscona family made Granite Springs their home well before the Farrah family arrived. My daughter Christine, along with the 4 other children, went to kindergarten in Somers and graduated from Somers High School. Now Roscona's 4 children will also grow up in Granite Springs, attending the Somers School District. And we really look forward because it is a good town. I mean, it really is. Please keep the character of the neighborhood and stick to the original plan approved for the developer. I doubt that the original development plan would approve the variance being requested today. We ask that the variance be denied. That's my presentation. If anybody
Okay.
has a question or anything.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
mean, my feeling is, I know that, during the years, there were situations where I wanted to do something. I always thought about the neighbor too. And, it's easy to go say, give me a variance. I'm going to go 5 feet this way. I'm going 6 feet that way. When I did things, put my pool in, did other changes to the house, I always made sure it was okay with the neighbors. Because I want them to be happy too. That's not the case here, okay? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody, sir, let me just, anybody else who wants to speak? Anybody else here wish to speak in regard to this application? Nope. Okay. Yep, sir, come on up. You have another comment?
So I just want to address just a couple items the gentleman mentioned. So the addition itself, as we spoke, I don't see where any water is impeding on their property. The structure gets pushed out 9.5 feet, or it gets pushed out 12.6 feet. The gutters and the downspouts of the house all return back into my property. Nothing is open-ended. Nothing goes to daylight in their direction. It all gets returned right back into my system the way it is now, goes underground into my current conduit and gets piped out the way it does right now. So I'm not sure why anyone would say that this addition or structure is going to add any kind of water issue to the neighbor. I don't know if that was an engineer. I think there was a question if the environmental determination was done. The answer is yes. Obviously, I wouldn't be here tonight. I couldn't do this unless the environmental determination was done. We filed for that. We paid for that. Gentleman came and we had the certified,
While you're speaking of that, let me just put a pause on that.
Yeah.
I do see a letter here dated March 4th, 2024 from Engineering Department, Steve Wolfel. And I'll just read the first paragraph, a brief review of the material subject determination that no environmental permits will be required for the proposed addition as shown on the submitted site plan. They do say this office recommends that erosion control measures be installed as necessary if any part of this application, blah, blah, and all of it's kind of just standard stuff. Okay, so yes, the town has been out there to take a look.
correct.
See if there's any environmental permits or anything that has to be required, or there is nothing at this point in time. Do you have any?
Yeah. If the application were changed to create a berm, do some screening, I would kick that back to planning and engineering for them to have a look at that.
Okay, if a berm,
Yes,
they were just gonna plant trees, I assume that,
that would not, that would not.
but the berm could create, I guess, a
Yes.
buffer.
I don't have to put the berm. I was just doing it, because everyone's concerned about privacy and closeness and the proximity. So I was doing that. I'll build it up and then put trees high enough. So therefore, from the beginning, they're already perched 9, 10, 11 feet. I can do them straight across. Doesn't really matter.
Right.
I know we got a little off track about something about pool. There's a pool in the house. I bought the house with a pool. All the equipment and everything with the pool is exactly how I bought it. Sometimes you have to backwash a pool. I don't know if anyone has a pool. I never owned a pool in my entire life. I didn't have a pool growing up. Some YouTube videos, I taught myself how to clean a pool, maintain the chemistry, and backwash. Backwash is simply after a couple of weeks of the summer and dirt and stuff get into the filter. There's that filter tube that stands upright. You put shock and you put chlorine and you put different type of chemicals, but then the filter gets dirty. So like a filter, like you have an air conditioning unit or a filter in a car, all filters get dirty. So it's called backwashing a pool. You basically just strip all the water out of that filter. And as it strips it, you are taking the dirt off of the filter and then it does come out a pipe. That pipe is on my property. The water goes out, it's on my property. I even said that if the water was getting on their property, if it was like carrying forward, I was going to just add an extension to that pipe and just route it like away from their property towards mine. It starts on my property and the water continues to stay on my property. If the water is seeping on their property, not like it has anything to do with this addition, but if it is, I'll rectify that. because it was brought up tonight.
It's not really an issue, I think, for us.
Right, all right, it was brought up, so I'm addressing.
It's
Um,
it's not a matter before us for us
all right,
to make a determination, something like that.
and building back of the house, there's that covered porch that everyone agrees is on and then there's a pool already there.
Yeah. Question for you though.
Yeah,
On the side of the house facing the neighbor's property, is there any equipment on the side of the house there?
well, there's 2 air conditioning units.
Where are those going to be moved to?
Well, like, they would just be moved where the new structure ends, they would be there. I mean, probably next to the fireplace. I don't know if it's architecturally able to be put behind the house,
Find out.
you know? But they're gonna be, if, like Keith said, if you do the 9.5-foot addition, the air conditioning units move from the current structure they're at now, they move to the new line, and then the air conditioning units go there. So if you went another 2 feet, the air conditioned units are still there. They still look out their window. Anyone can see an air conditioning unit. I look at theirs, they look at mine. It's just part of owning a home. There's air conditioning units, and we don't live in, they're not commercial properties. They can't be put on the roof. So they have to be put on the side of the house. The right side of my house is a concrete foundation, walkout, and a driveway of asphalt. So I can't put them on the right side of my house.
Yeah.
Or the west side.
Possibly behind, I guess, would be another look.
It's an option that could be explored, right? With the,
Variance doing the air conditioning units, Tom?
What's that?
Would the variance need to include those air conditioning units?
No,
Not considered part of the main structure.
yeah, I haven't come across anything in the code that would require an air conditioning unit to meet a setback. Pool filtration equipment, yes.
It's not a structure.
But,
Right.
yeah.
but just the pool filtration, equipment is all the way in the back left. It's nowhere near the
That's not
structure.
relevant to.
Not here.
Yeah, okay.
That's not relevant. Yeah, we have to stay focused on
Yep.
what we're looking at. So. Okay. All right. Does anybody else wish to speak in regard to this application? Final comments now? Denise, Paul, I think we put this online. Was anybody trying to get online to speak in regard to this application?
They were not.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Further comments from the board or questions?
I would say that 3-4 feet over 30 feet does not feel like a substantial variance. And I know that a lot of people were talking about hardship. That's mostly on use variances, right? This is really on area variances. It's really a balancing test. And so the question, I think, for the board is whether a few additional feet, whether we feel that's gonna impact the neighborhood substantially versus the benefit to the applicant. They clearly have some special circumstances. I recognize that these 2 houses are a little closer than other houses in the neighborhood, but there's got to be a reason the builder did that. Like, it's not natural for him to have them all spaced 100 and 200 feet.
Maybe based on terrain or some reason.
There's got to be rock, there's got to be terrain, there's got to be a reason he did that to begin with. And they inherited that. I don't think it's a self-created hardship. They have these portions of the programming of the house on the left-hand side. They got the septic on the right. They don't have another natural place to put it. I don't think adding 3 or 4 feet is going to change the impact to the neighbor or to the neighborhood, particularly if there's screening. And so I'm in favor of the application.
Yeah, I mean, my feel on the application is that, this is a 1-story addition. If this is a 2-story addition with windows, I'd have a problem with it. A 1-story addition like this, and actually windows are going to be deleted, taken out, at least one, if not both. Plus with the screening, I think it's going to improve privacy for both parties. Do I think that the 3, 4, or 5 foot encroachment on the setback is significant? I don't, but I'd like to hear what other board members have to say. Paul, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it's that 4 foot 3 inches on that one side. I just don't think it's enough to have me vote no to that.
Right, it's not significant.
And putting in the screening, I think actually provides more privacy to both parties. And removing the window, as you said, also increases privacy. So I don't see how that would possibly impact the value. And it should, everything he's doing should help with drainage on that side. So I don't find those arguments.
Bill, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you. I think that the 4 feet is inconsequential as far as changing the character of the area. I think it's a small enough change that it won't change the area. And putting up the trees for screening, I think you'll improve the privacy, not make it worse.
Yeah.
So I'm tending to go along with it.
Tom, what are your comments? I know you had a little concern about this.
Yeah,
What do you have
I
to
mean,
say?
I think there's privacy, but then there's, a feel of a neighborhood, right?
Right.
And a feeling of space between homes. I know I live where I live now for that same reason. Yeah, and okay, it's 4 feet. It's a 12.5 foot addition. It's getting 12.5 foot closer. Yes, it can get 9 foot closer by right. But it is getting 12.5 foot closer. So, and just looking at the orientation of the neighborhood, why did the builder put these particular two houses closer together than any other house in the neighborhood? Because it was probably the cheapest and most efficient placement for those houses, I would imagine. So I imagine if he could have put them further apart, he would have, except for the fact that may have been more expensive or there may have been some other obstacle. So I don't think making these houses any closer together fits in with the layout of the neighborhood. And I do think, and while I completely understand what the Ferraras are trying to do, and I think it's a great effort, I think there may be other ways to accomplish that. Not necessarily going to the other side of the house, but perhaps the extra 3.5 foot. They have 9 foot by right. They need so it's another 3.5 feet or 4 feet. It looks to me like it's about 30 feet deep. So it's about 100 square foot that they don't have, that they need this variance to get an extra 100 square feet in the house. I think, a little bump out to the back or perhaps even just an interior correction could achieve the same goal. So I would probably not vote to put these two houses any closer than they currently are.
Okay.
Would you feel differently if we condition it on moving the condensing units to the back or?
No, I think as it that only says to me, well, now we're even 3 feet closer.
Yeah, well, but it is something which is there and it reduces noise. Could be a mitigatory thing if.
Yeah, I just, in terms of the feel of the neighborhood, I just think
Yeah.
that these are just getting too close. But
Yeah, just one comment here, just so everybody is aware, this is a 7-member board. In order to pass a motion or deny, and to pass an application or deny an application, you need 4 votes, one way or the other. So just so everybody in the room is aware. Okay. Further comments? Further discussion? I want to give the applicant, let me just do one more thing. I want to give the applicant one more time. Any other question or any other comments you'd like to make before we vote? We're probably going to go to a vote on this.
Oh, do you have any other questions for me? I tried to explain.
Questions to the applicant?
No.
You have a question for my architect?
Question for the board.
Okay, all right. No, we're good.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you. If you're set,
Address, this isn't just about entertaining a couple of times a year. This is about, just having people over and just being able to have our child comfortable in a situation. It's not just a Christmas or an Easter. It's just having people over. We don't really get to go out and do, so we have people come to us. So I just wanted to make that clear. This isn't something, we really thought this through. It's a lot of money to spend. It's not something, oh, we just want to extend the house. We do think that this will impact our lives in a very good way and for our son. So I just want to make, everyone understand, like I said earlier, it's a safe place for our son and just for our family. And it's more than, used more than just once or twice or 3 times for Christmas or Easter or whatever. So, we will get a lot of use out of it. It's not just there just to make it look nice or to say, oh, we got this, big living room, dining room. So I just
Okay,
Just wanted
I
to
think-
make sure that, you know, everybody just kind of understood where we're coming from.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just, we
Yeah.
had this discussion before, and I just don't remember where we landed, that if this vote, if four votes in favor don't go, what that means.
Like, let's say it's a 3-2 vote. It's a 3-2 vote. Let's say it's a 3-2 vote.
Yeah.
My understanding is that's a non-decision. And we basically we have to come back and vote again on it.
There was the case law which the other attorney had brought in, which spoke to that, and I don't know if we had digested that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where we argued,
Remember the.
what did,
gentleman
yeah,
from Mount
what did
Kisco?
that mean, right? Yeah,
Uh,
did argue that.
He,
I don't know that we came to a conclusion, though.
I mean,
Well, you know, we're 2 members short right now, which is somewhat, you know.
Yeah, he indicated that, if it's a tie or it doesn't go in favor, then that's a denial.
He was arguing that a tie was a
I
denial,
don't know
right?
if the board ever reached a conclusion on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something we'd probably have to go to legal counsel on and to, you know, to provide further information, but let's see how the vote comes out. It may not be an issue, it may be an issue. So, yeah, it's.
Yeah, if that were the case, they wouldn't be granted if they didn't achieve 4 votes, they wouldn't be granted the variance tonight. And then it would need to be clarified whether that constituted a denial or a
Or whether-
It's
carryover.
a
or whether they
carryover.
just Come back.
Yeah, in order for the applicant to prevail here and get their variance, they need 4 votes tonight. If they don't get it, it's either a denial, if there's 4 against it, or it's a pending matter that we would have to then,
So 2 very different things,
yeah, figure out what's going on.
because the denial means they need a new application
Right,
versus they come back as right.
right. And we may have to go to town legal counsel if, you know, if that's a pending matter. We'll have to see how this falls out.
Yeah, I don't think we ever got to the bottom of that. So.
And sometimes it's gray, so.
Yeah, and I'll just say one more time, I think that the spacing of houses in a neighborhood like this means an awful lot. Which is why I just don't think would be able to vote for the variance.
Okay. Any further comments anybody has before we go to a vote?
No.
Okay, I'll take a motion for the type of action.
Type 2.
Second.
Seconded by Paul. Denise,
Mr. Hardin,
Aye.
Mr. Lansky,
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Mr. Padavani.
Aye.
Chairman Canestra.
aye.
Thank you.
Can we have a motion whether we're going to grant or deny the application and what conditions we may put on the application if someone wants to approve it?
I'd like to make a motion to grant the application to provide for a 24-foot side yard or a 6-foot variance from the 30-foot required.
Is it 6? Is that the number?
It's 5'10", so.
5'10", make it 6.
5 feet 10 inches. So
I mean, they've requested 5'10", so I'd make it 5'10".
I'm fine with that.
okay, it's Bart's, you know,
No,
Bart's motion.
yes.
it's fine.
Sorry.
Yeah,
No,
But
no,
you,
it's-
but if you want to do it, you know, it's up to you, Bart. You're making the
It's,
motion. So.
I'd like to give people an interest. I'm in. So I will make a motion to grant a 6-foot variance, side yard variance. So long as applicant provides evergreen screening between the new addition and the property line to obscure the lower level of the house.
And when you say that, do you want to give some kind of range, like in front of or behind the house, or I mean, what?
Side, to obscure the
The whole side of the house.
that side of the house, the
Right.
32 feet should be screened with everything.
Do you want to give a minimum height to the evergreens to be installed?
Well, the I think in planting, no less than 6 feet tall at planting.
Okay. And what about, do you want to consider, I'm sorry, don't mean to,
Spacing?
is, no, do you want anything done with the air conditioning condensers outside the building?
I'm gonna leave that alone.
Okay.
If somebody else feels that's the make or break, then let's add it in.
Mhm. I'll second that.
Mr. Hardin,
Yes.
Mr. Lansky,
Yes.
Mr. Newman,
Nay.
Mr. Padavani,
Aye.
Chairman Canestra.
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations, your application has been granted with the conditions that we have put upon it, please. And then, of course, you have to follow all the regular procedures. Okay? Thank you very much. We're gonna go to the, yes, sir. Meetings continued. If you have a question, you can go to the building inspector or the. Sir, you're always welcome to, obtain legal counsel
Always.
or consultation on anything that you want. And then, in order for a matter to come before us, an application has to be made. You can get an attorney or anybody else to make an application.
Sure.
Well, keep in mind, once the board makes a decision, have to file
Article 78.
it's Article 78 with the Supreme Court of New York State. Ours is a legal determination, and you can appeal that with an Article 78 proceeding. I would suggest you consult an attorney to see, what your rights are in regard to that. We can't give you legal advice. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Good luck.
I know that we ended per the question, so now I have a question.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
You just said that you made a legal determination, you.
This is the determination of the board. We are a quasi judicial body. We made a legal determination.
So I need to, like, got full vote that said
You've been granted.
Variance has been granted.
I'm gonna move forward with this project.
Yeah.
And follow my permits, do everything to letter of the law. I hear litigation and legal being talked about, so is the fact that this was just approved tonight, which goes to legal counsel and goes to whatever board or judicial.
Unless the town gets a stay, this is proceeding.
Yeah, we shouldn't give you legal advice.
Yes,
I'm not asking for legal.
but yeah,
No.
I'm saying to you guys, well, I'm
You-
saying to the
you're-
board, is someone gonna say that they are gonna go back and revert on the decision that was just made?
No,
No.
No, not from our side.
Well, it's quite fine.
our decision is final. That's it.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Have a nice.
All right. Wish you the best. Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Yep. Okay, we're gonna go to the last item on the agenda this evening. This is the application of Rudolph Ten Pow. This is an application for a variance and site coverage for a deck addition to an existing carriage house to an existing one-family dwelling in an R80 residential district. Sir, could you just give us your name and address?
Jonathan Hodash, 120 North Main Street, Suite 501, New City, New York, 10956.
Okay, are you an architect?
I'm an architect, yeah.
An architect, okay. Could you briefly describe the application before us?
Yeah, back on December 9th, we appeared before the board, granted two variances. One was for a small primary residence, the other one for an accessory apartment in the accessory building garage. At that time, we had proposed a two-car garage addition to the west of the existing accessory garage, as well as a deck off the second floor. Given your feedback and discussion, we decided to go back and withdraw those two applications, modifications. So,
We had approved some of the items and
right, you house addition to the apartment.
right, and we were concerned about the other items.
Right. In keeping with your comments, we have we're not going to go forward with proposing a garage addition at this time. And we cut back the deck to be in line with the edge of the existing accessory building, eliminating the side yard variance and reducing the front yard variance. And the front yard variance that we're requesting would put the setback at 24.8 feet from the property line, but the existing structure is actually 15.9 feet. So we're actually nowhere near the front of where the existing structure is standing. If I can show you on the site plan.
So you could just turn the microphone, just kind of turn it down just so everybody can hear.
All right, so this right here is 15 point, that's existing.
Right.
And the addition, the deck, which would be a deck, is 24.8. So we're really far back from the street, and we kept the addition in line with the existing structure. So what we're proposing is an addition, a deck off the second floor, and putting a deck and a roof above the existing shed, which we're converting to a garage. But there's no change to the footprint other than the raised deck. So the only variances are coverage and the front yard.
And how many feet for a front yard are you looking for as a setback, as a
We're,
variance?
we're looking for 24.8 where it's required, right? And presently the building is 15.9. The main structure is 15.9.
That's the side yard,
The front yard. yeah.
Front yard variance.
The side yard requires no variance. The side yard is conforming.
Yeah, given that the building is so far forward, and that this deck is only,
Map with
the
it.
variance for this deck is only moving it closer to Route 35.
Right.
I would have no problem with I have no problem with the front yard setback.
This is just an area view of the neighborhood and the tax map. So you can see right here, the carriage house, there's the road. And these are just the neighboring property. So just in case if you wonder where the next door neighbors are, that's just, this is the carriage house in question. Here's the shed, addition that currently exists that the deck will go over.
So there's no structure, no neighbors anywhere near
Okay.
where we're proposing this deck. We have, you want to give us?
I do have smaller copies of the plans as well. In these packets, there is also the previous site plan that we were here for in December, just so you can see how much we did reduce the project. But other than that, that's the.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We also have some renderings and photographs we'd like to show you.
That's funny.
I do recall this also in that your driveway is shared with 3 other neighbors, is it?
I don't know, it's three, yeah.
It is 3.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think
And it also bisects the property.
Yeah.
I do see that.
Property. Now these are renderings.
So the,
Adds to your site coverage issues, right?
yes, it does. And then the only place we can possibly add is to the west side. What you have before you now is a pack that shows the existing in a photograph form, the existing in CAD form, and a proposed in CAD proposal floor plan. And they said everything is on the west side of the existing garage. The reason we went over the garage portion is that when you come out from the house, we're only about, I think 6 feet out. And in order to get a nice sized deck that's usable, we went over the.
Yeah.
The part that says proposed roof deck over garage is over an existing structure, so we're not going any closer than the existing garage.
The roofed deck over garage has walls on 2 sides?
Yeah, just for privacy from the main house. And also for the person in the apartment. And for wind, there's also issues. When they're looking out on the property to the west, there's really nothing there except trees. That's really the view, desired view.
So there's two variances sought here. One is lot coverage where 15% is required. Actual is 17.83, so you're gonna go to 18.5, so you're 3.5% relief sought there.
Yeah, you approved 17.83 last time.
Right.
But prior to that, before we started anything, we were at 17.7.
Okay,
So it's really not a huge increase.
right. And then, as discussed, the front yard is supposed to be back 40 feet.
Mhm.
Okay, existing is only 15.9, and then you want to add in the proposed deck, which would be 4.8 setback from the road.
Correct. And once again, the deck only extends 6.6 feet from the side of the building. And it's only a second floor deck and a railing. There's no roof. There's nothing else.
Okay.
It's just enough to walk out from the, and put a couple of chairs out or something.
And the proposed roofed deck over the garage, there's no variance needed for that.
Correct.
That's okay. Other than site coverage issues.
Well, there's no site coverage because it's on the garage.
Oh, it's over the garage. Okay.
So it's really,
It's
just that-
existing.
it's really just that little strip of 6'6" by 20 or whatever on the side.
Okay, is that deck?
Yeah.
And the applicant really wants that deck.
It's the only way to get to the other deck.
Right.
Because if you look at the plan,
Yeah.
This is the,
If you could just turn that microphone around so we can hear you. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Just,
This is the approved apartment above the garage. The only way to access this deck is through here.
right.
That's a bedroom. So we have a French door here and we come out and walk to the covered deck.
So that's the plan. That's the main reason for the deck is that you get French access.
Yes.
And a reasonable basis.
Yeah. And
Without going through the wall over there.
right. And the other thing, we just went forward a little bit. So there's room for either a grill or, a little sitting area.
That kind of makes sense.
Also, that's where the windows end. So we kind of thought it looked better aesthetically to balance off the windows.
Right.
Like I said, we cut it down dramatically from our last proposal.
Have any neighbors or anybody else balked in regard to this that you know of?
No,
Anybody been notified of the meeting, obviously.
we did not speak to anybody because there's nobody there to speak to, really. The neighbor's house is set so far back to the west and to the south. Doesn't affect them at all.
Right. Okay.
And just for the record, I've heard from no one.
Okay. Thank you, Denise. Any questions of the applicant?
I do not.
Okay, maybe we should open this up to the public. Paul, if we could just bring the Zoom phone numbers online, let's bring this out to the public. Does anybody here wish to speak in regard to the application? Nope, okay. We'll just leave it up for a minute while the board is discussing it. Comments?
So the increase in lot coverage is made up of the uncovered portion of the deck.
Correct.
Just that.
Covered portion
Oh,
of the deck
there's
is
a little bit of, I'm sorry, a little bit of driveway because we're converting that existing shed into a garage. We're not touching it. We're just putting a garage door on it.
okay.
That's that little bit of darkened area to the south.
So we're increasing the lot coverage by less than, let's say 3/4 of a percent.
It's very small.
Yeah, you're in the unusual circumstance of having a driveway that feeds other homes that is considered part of lot coverage.
Correct. Without that, we wouldn't have a problem.
Right. That's the unusual circumstance you find yourself. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. If the driveway stopped at the bottom of the circle, we wouldn't have an issue.
you'd be done. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously the neighbors behind you all have right of way over the driveway.
Yes.
Part of it. Okay. I don't see this as very substantial in my mind.
I do not.
I don't know what other members think. All right.
There's no comment.
Okay. Thank you, Denise.
You're welcome.
Further comments from the board?
No.
Does the applicant have anything further you'd like to add at this point?
Just once again to state that if we haven't given your feedback last time, we did go back, we discussed it quite a bit. We looked at the neighbor's property. We looked at the adjoining property, especially to the west, and determined what the minimum we could get by with, still meeting the aesthetic and functional goals of the project. And that's what we came back with.
I mean, I think this is much improved over what we were looking at.
Big
before.
improvement.
Little bit less, less.
That was our goal to.
Yeah. Okay, last shot for comments, questions, issues. Yep.
I think it's circumstance because
Yeah.
he has the burden of the driveway for 3 other houses in the site coverage. So I think that's what makes it somewhat,
Right. And there does seem to be a lot of foliage and.
because the
Think-
driveway would not naturally continue that last bit.
Right, it would have ended.
Therefore, that's the major thing, going from 15% to 18.5%, 23%. Even though it's a 3.5% change, it's, when you put it over 15%, it's almost, it's substantive, but when you consider that we're picking up that whole driveway, which is for his neighbors' use.
And technically, when you think about it, the neighbors have less lot coverage because of the driveway
Yeah.
on their property, right? So if you look at all 4
And
properties,
he has the burden of that.
right,
So I think it makes it a unique situation.
I do too. Okay, last chance for any comments? Nope. Okay, all right, so I think we should go to a vote, unless board members have any other comments? Nope. Okay, can we have a motion for the type of action?
Type 2.
Second.
Mr. Hardin,
Aye.
Mr. Lansky,
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Mr. Padavani,
Aye.
and Chairman Canestra.
Aye.
Thank you.
Can we have a motion as to whether we're going to grant the site coverage, variance for the site coverage and the front yard setback?
I'll make a motion to grant a variance for site coverage at 18.5%. You want these together?
No, I think we should do them together.
And grant an sorry,
It's a front yard.
a front yard, and grant a variance for a front yard setback of 15 feet 2 inches.
Yep.
Yep. I'll second that.
Mr. Hardin,
Aye.
Mr. Lansky,
Aye.
Mr. Newman.
Aye.
Mr. Padavani.
Aye.
Chairman Canestra.
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations, your application has been granted.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Yes. Sure.
At the last meeting, I made a note that.
So Bart, I'm sorry, could you do me a favor? I need you to move that microphone closer to you.
Okay.
You look very relaxed, but bring it over to your
Okay.
lap because I can't hear you.
Okay, so
Thank
at the
you.
last meeting, I made a note that our code online says it was adopted in 1959, and therefore anything prior to 1959 would be pre-existing non-conforming, and wouldn't require a building permit or CO. And Tommy was able to provide me with a copy of code, I think 1947. So our online code is simply not dated properly. But we do have an earlier code that and Tommy was correct that 1947 had is actual. And so I think going forward, somebody has to be before 1947
In order for them to.
in order to be grandfathered. That's a tough, complicated word, but yes, not be subject to a CO, and not be subject to zoning. They have to be before, it's 1947, Tom? 45, sorry.
Wow, that goes way back.
So
It's written, 59 is written into the.
59 is online, which is why I
That should
picked up
be
that
correct.
date. And so
That's-
that should say new code adopted in 59, earlier code 19 whatever the date is, 1945, so that people know that, because that's a mistake I made. And I have more familiarity than most with the codes.
Okay.
Can we talk to Patty about that, Tommy?
Sure you can.
Okay, I will.
Okay, one other item we have on the agenda. We were talking about drafting wording for the accessory apartment code as far as what the requirements were, just to kind of further solidify how is floor area determined. The code requires between 300 and 800 square feet. And is it the outside of the building, is interior? What happens if we have roofs with lower, with low head space, so where do it, so, Tom Newman was kind enough to, I think, work with you to also, Tom, our building inspector, as far as putting some wording together, based on some of our previous discussions. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at that email? If you want to just maybe refresh your memory on it. To make, because, assuming we all agree, this is something that we can forward to town board for their consideration for an amendment to the code, just to provide some further clarity as to how we determine floor space. All right, and the floor space, just to kind of go over it real quickly, maybe I should just read it.
Just read it.
Yeah, so we all kind of are on the same page here. This is the proposed change as written, and we can modify it, obviously. The floor area for an accessory apartment shall be between 300 and 800 square feet. The floor area for an accessory apartment shall be calculated as measured from the outside walls of the dwelling unit for full stories. The floor area for an accessory apartment shall be calculated from where the ceiling height is 5 feet or greater above the finished floor for half stories. Garages, cellars, heater, mechanical utility rooms, unfinished basements, decks, unconditioned porches. I assume you mean like unair conditioned or right? No heater cooling there. Balconies and breezeways shall not be considered part of the floor area. Each accessory apartment shall contain no more than one bedroom unless, in the opinion of the Zoning Board of Appeals, excuse me, a second bedroom can be adequately accommodated within the existing building and will not overburden the property, and the building was issued a certificate of occupancy prior to April 1, 1992. That date is in the code as right now. The Zoning Board of Appeals shall be responsible for determining the number of bedrooms in each dwelling unit in connection with its review of the special exception use permit.
And then just as a refresher, right, the reason we did it this way is that rather than rely on a definition separately, so in other words, just saying gross floor area, livable floor area, we all decided, we all seemed to agree last time that we should just actually write it into this. So that's why it got longer, because it now includes its own definition.
But it's also very clear.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no ambiguity here. We know this is what the 300 to 800 is. Any comments on this? Changes anybody would like to make, or?
I think it sounds good. You send it to the town board and let them.
Can I
Town board.
just clarification? Ultimately, I don't remember what I ate for dinner last night, so ultimately, this is a new definition we're adding to the code.
Not
The
that-
others,
But this is a.
No,
It's an interpretation.
It's an amendment to an existing,
An
to
amendment.
170-70E,
okay,
where it changes some language and adds additional language.
okay. I just want to make sure that when I send the memo, it's clear on what we're proposing, etc. So Tom, I ask you, if you don't mind, to get that clarity to me, so that I'll send you all a copy of the memo, of course, but I want to make sure that it's clear on what, we're asking.
Okay.
Yeah, Tom's email of April 4th puts forth the original wording and then the proposed change.
Ah,
So I
okay.
think, Denise, looking at that, I think that kind of lays it out very nicely.
All right, perfect. I don't
Just
have
take a
that
look
in
at that
front of
April
me.
4th email.
Yep, I will look at that email.
And I think it's important, for you, Tom, Tom Toom, I'm talking here. Do you think that this is clear you know, because, you know, you're the one with the most experience here as far as like, are we covering the bases? Are we missing something?
I think it's very clear.
Okay, hopefully it helps you and us.
And sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So there's not this ambiguity, you know, what is the square?
What's the importance of us determining the number of bedrooms?
I guess the intent of the code was that they'd be one bedroom. So that's the sort of, because it's I mean, I imagine mostly because it's 800 square feet, it's not meant to be, these were meant to be
So
So it doesn't require. a
Yeah.
variance.
family and they're not.
so
you may want to include another parking spot because that's required, off-street parking, another park.
so we're
spot
determining,
Potentially for a second bedroom.
my only the hang up was just that normally like the Board of Health determines bedrooms. And then if we're determining bedrooms, is there any conflict? Is it?
Oh, no,
It's,
you were to approve a two-bedroom accessory apartment and the health department did not approve it, it would not go through.
so
Because bedrooms are
Come
determined,
back.
not bathrooms,
These-
bedrooms.
Board of Health's required, so after, there's no sense in sending an applicant to the health department consideration until the board renders a decision. And then after they render a decision, then they go to the health department prior to receiving
So,
a building permit.
we call it a 2-bedroom, the Board of Health might still call it a 1-bedroom.
Correct.
It won't matter,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this 2-bedroom
I
or
would-
1-bedroom determination is just for the purposes of granting the special exception use permit and therefore not critical.
Contingent
If
upon
that-
still health department.
And if
Yeah.
that were the case, bring it back here.
Okay, so that, I don't have a problem with that. I just wanted to have it understood in my head.
Okay. So I like this. I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think it's what we discussed.
Thank you.
It is.
Yeah, thank you very much, to Tom
Thanks, Tom.
Newman, yeah, for putting this together. I know this all takes time and I appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah,
You're becoming our.
okay. So I
right,
think Denise, you know, I'd like you to take another look at it. Yeah, but I think we should forward this to, town board as our recommendation for them to consider. Obviously, they make the call on zoning matters. But, yep, okay.
yeah, so I'll put it in the form of a memo. And I'll request that, they consider it. Do you want to see the memo before I send it?
It might be a good idea just to
Yeah,
circulate.
I'll,
everybody,
I'll
just so we have-
send, yeah,
While we're writing a memo to the town board, do we write that we need them to amend the dates?
Can't hurt.
That might be a good idea.
Yep,
It'd almost be a separate letter.
I can add that,
No.
It's a separate
Separate
A
issue?
separate thing.
Yeah.
okay.
Do a separate thing and it'll be acted on separately.
let me,
And that may not need to go to the town. board.
right,
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
let me start that conversation with the town clerk. She may say it needs a memo and, the backup information. Let me start that conversation with her. And if I need it to go back to all of you, I'll let you know. Tommy and I will discuss it. But
Okay.
like you
Okay,
said,
good.
it may not need to
There's
go to
other
the town
things in the
board.
Code that go to that year 1945. That's why I was under the impression. I was telling Bart earlier, threw me through a loop when he mentioned that 1959 date in the code. I've never even had to look at that because there's other areas that
Go back to 45.
45, and it's always been 1945.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Okay, good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Any further matters before we have to talk about minutes? The last minute? Nope.
No, sure.
Okay. So last item on the agenda is the approval of the March 19th, 2024 minutes. Anybody with any changes, comments or anything before we vote?
No
Just gonna approve by voice consensus. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay. Anybody not voting? No. Okay. All right. So Denise, the minutes for March 19th, 2024 are approved.
Thank you.
Our last thing I'll just make mention of, our next meeting, I believe is, and Denise, you could check me, May 21st, 2024, third Tuesday in May.
Yes. And we will have a meeting. We do have items on the agenda.
Okay.
And we will not meet though in June because
Right.
we have nowhere to be.
Okay, because there's tax certs being.
Tax
reviewed.
certs.
Yep, being reviewed
Yep.
as, okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. So that's it. I think we'll wrap it up. Everybody good?
Good.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
Thank
Good
you,
night, everyone.
everybody.
Good night, everyone. And we'll see everybody next month. Thank you.
Good
All
night.
right, Paul, you can close us down.